yes, we have a challenge before us. Dr. King reminded us that life is an inescapable network of mutuality, tied to a single garment of destiny. What impacts one directly impacts all indirectly. And that's what we're facing now, this challenge of it not being Texas. It's not just Texas. It really is the United States of America, because if they succeed in Texas, they will take this to other states. They will take this to the county court level. They will take this to the commissioners, the school boards. They will take this across the length and breadth of the country, but they'll do it if we only stand by and watch them. But if we take a stand, we can stop them. That's what we're doing today. We're taking a stand, and we're going to prevent them from going forward in Texas. All right. Here's why we have to take this stand. Because one vote makes a difference. One vote makes a difference. It was one vote that allowed them to get the big, ugly steal out of the House. One vote. And it was one vote in the Senate, with the vice president casting that vote, that allowed it to get out of the Senate and back to the House. Friends, I regret to tell you that the 18th Congressional District was not represented when that first vote took place. It was not. If the 18th had been represented, they'd have to find that one vote someplace else. One vote makes a difference. And in Texas, they're trying to silence 5 Democratic voices in the Congress of the United States of America. They have already made an effort to eliminate some of the districts. They're no longer going to be, there's no possibility of Democrats being elected. They are doing what the president has insisted be done, and I want you to know that we didn't introduce the race card. When this message was sent by and through the Justice Department to the state of Texas, to our Attorney General, they mentioned the race card because they talked about racial gerrymandering. They brought it up, and when they brought it up, they did it knowing that this was a buzzword. It was a trigger. They knew that if they could use the race card in Texas, where we've had white primaries, and when the Supreme Court said, well, you can't do that, then we had white pre-primaries, where we've had all sorts of obstacles to voting. They knew that that's a buzzword that people would respond to in Texas. But we are going to respond to that buzzword by telling them that your racism is not going to change democracy in the state of Texas, is not going to change it in the United States of America. Racism is going to be met with our taking a stand for democracy. You take a stand for racism, we will stand for democracy, and we will win. And we will win. Democracy is going to win.
You should probably tell that he is in fear of, well, losing his seat. And I love to see him go. I don't want Jasmine Crockett to lose her seat. I think that she is a net plus for the GOP. Sorry, I don't want her to lose her seat. But in the interest of, team building, Jasmine Crockett got to go too. Now, with all this blustering about one vote, guess how many times Kamala Harris cast a tie-winning vote in the Senate? 33. 33 times she cast a winning vote. There was not a peep out of Democrats. They just, that's right. The only reason, by the way, let me give you a heads up, all right? The only reason he mentions Martin Luther King Jr. is because he wants everybody to think that we're living in 1950. That's the only reason he brings that name up. It's not that he has any, affinity towards him. He brings it up to shut you up. That's the only reason. Yes, Al Green, but not the real Al Green. But yes, you are going to lose your seat.
My final comment is this. As you know, the president and I don't exchange Christmas cards. The president is a very vindictive person. He is a don't bring me any bad news person. Just fired someone because he got bad news. We friends have to understand what we're dealing with. And if we understand what we're dealing with, we can stop what we're dealing with. We're dealing with an egomaniacal person who believes that he has to be right, and if he's not, then the world is wrong. He would impeach judges that differ with him. He would fire people that don't give him good news. He would change congressional districts just to get rid of people that have challenged him.
Now, here's what you got to know, all right? Because I got to pour some cold water on this because it's utter and complete nonsense. Okay, Democrats have been gerrymandering up the yin yang. Okay, I come bearing receipts. All right. So with no further ado, let's get into this.
They expect us to take the punch and say thank you. Well, I am here to tell you, not only are we going to punch back, but we about to beat you down.
Plans to deliver on child care, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver. We're going to experiment. We're going to try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message.
Democrats talking about their plan. Joining us tonight, Mark Levin, host of Life, Liberty, and Levin here on Fox, nationally syndicated radio host and author of the new book, On Power. Mark, great to have you here. I wanted to,
Thanks for having me,
we're going to talk about the book and the specifics. Been through it. It's an interesting, great read. But I want to talk to you about the redistricting fight we're seeing in Texas and what Democrats are pledging in other states and how that all plays out.
Well, I don't know what else they can do. I looked at some of these states. In California, they have 43 Democrat representatives and 9 Republicans. In Illinois, they have 14 Democrats and 3 Republicans. In Maryland, they have 7 Democrats and 1 Republican. In New York, they have 19 Democrats and 7 Republicans. They've already gerrymandered their states. And even more than that, Brett, people forget in 2020, the Census Bureau confessed that it made a number of errors that cost the Republicans additional seats, up to 5 seats. Florida was supposed to get 2 more. Texas was supposed to get another one and so forth. Instead, Rhode Island held on to a seat and so forth, and they admit their error. These dark blue states have already blown out Republicans over and over and over again. I mean, this California number is stunning. 43 Democrats, 9 Republicans. You know, the population in California between the Republicans and the independents far outnumber the Democrats, and yet they control the vast majority of seats. So I'd say to the Republicans, you're fighting fire with fire. That's okay.
They expect
You're fighting fire with fire. That's what ends up happening right now. That's what you see happening. Say Donald Trump calls them, hey, let's start redistricting now. We're going to do it right now. I don't give a crap about the census because you can't rely on the census. Okay. What you just heard here, I got to show you this. This is from the Heritage Foundation. Census Bureau errors distort congressional representation for states. This is insane to me. As a result of these consensus errors, Florida did not, let me repeat, did not receive 2 additional congressional seats, and Texas did not receive 1 more congressional seat. Meanwhile, 2 other states, Minnesota and Rhode Island, each retained a congressional seat that they should have lost, and Colorado gained a new seat to which it was rightfully not entitled. The harms flowing from these mistakes impact more than just congressional representation, which also affects a number of electors from those states, since they are calculated by the number of senators and representatives. Because the Treasury and other federal departments will continue to use the original official consensus numbers, not the new numbers contained in the PES, these errors will affect $1.5 trillion in funding received by states in federal appropriations during the next decade in distributions that are distributed based on population of each state. this has like ramifications. They admit to the error. They admit they materially changed the electorate, but no changes were made. And so now Democrats want to yell foul, knowing full well about this. And how in the world, look at this, hang on a second. That's California, 2024. You see all that red? Yet Democrats control the entire state. What you just heard. Get this, 43 Democratic seats to 9 Republicans. You want to know how Gavin Newsom won? You're watching it. And all those dense population areas like LA and all of those coastal elites, they don't represent California. And I'm doing this to let you know this is not out of bounds. Texas is fighting fire with fire. Democrats have been doing this for decades. How in heaven's name does Gavin Newsom win an election with that map? How? Gerrymandering. The same goes for Illinois. The same goes for Maryland. The same goes for New York. New York's got like 19 to 7. And they're all yelling, fuck, you can't do this. You can't do it. You may get close to how we've done it. It's unbelievable. So you got to give those numbers to your leftist friends and say, hey, they've been gerrymandering California, Illinois, and New York for a long time. For those of you who don't get it, those are the 3 biggest cities in this country, controlled by Democrats. Not because people are voting for them, but because they sliced and diced and gerrymandering their way into winning. Mark Levin is right. Okay? We're right. We are fighting fire with fire. You know, it's so funny. I remember talking to a doctor friend of mine, and I said, you should never use fire to start fire. You shouldn't do that. You just burn everything down. And then the doctor goes, oh, well, you're a city kid, so I don't expect you to understand. You set a fire, you burn down the shrubbery so that the fire can't continue, thus fighting fire with fire. That's what Gavin Newsom should have done in California. I never understood that. And what we're doing right now, we're fighting fire with fire. We're burning up all of their access roads to get a majority because that's what they're after. They just want a majority by any means necessary. They want a majority by any means necessary. New York is going to start gerrymandering and California is going to start gerrymandering. And my guess is so is Pritzker or whatever his name is in Illinois. So what Texas is doing, small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. All right, that's it for now. If you like this video, smash the like button and subscribe. And if you're following me on Rumble, please press that follow button. And until the next time, God bless.